hope you've been enjoying week 1 of Freedom Ticket. There is going to be so much information that is really going to help you build your business if you're just starting off, or scale your business if you're already selling. Now, you might have wondered, is Freedom Ticket really for me? Maybe you thought that it was just for brand new people on Amazon and you're already experienced. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're brand new and you're like, man, maybe Freedom Ticket is a bit advanced and it's only for experienced sellers. Well, this module is really going to help you guys out because you are going to hear from 5 different e-commerce sellers. Now, all of them have something in common. They've all taken either the current Freedom Ticket or the original Freedom Ticket. But here's where their commonality stops. There is one person who was a 6-figure seller on Etsy, and then that business went away, and so now he's selling on Amazon. There was somebody who was already selling close to 7 figures on Amazon, and then he took Freedom Ticket and it helped him expand his business further. We've got somebody who has never sold anything online before, and he is just getting started. We don't have people just here in the United States. We've got some people from other countries as well that we are going to interview. So maybe one of these buckets is you. Well, here's my point. No matter where you live, no matter what your e-commerce background is, Freedom Ticket is going to help you. And so I have 5 interviews that I did for a podcast before of people who can maybe tell a little bit of their story and how they use Freedom Ticket to help them in their business. And I guarantee you're going to find something in there that is going to help you on your journey to e-commerce. So let's go ahead and get right into the interviews.
All right. So the first guest we have today is Paul. Paul, you're from Scotland, right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm a place called Glasgow in Scotland.
Awesome. So now you had first taken another course and you had started a product like, what was it? October of, was it 2018 or 2017?
So 2018, just over a year ago, was our first sale.
Okay. All right. So you started right off there, but then right when you were in the midst of starting your product, you started taking the original Freedom Ticket, if I'm not mistaken, and then you used the original Freedom Ticket to kind of like modify how you scaled that original product, right?
Yeah, that was correct. Yeah. So I'd been selling, I think, for around 1 month. And I kind of take the view that I want to learn from a wide variety of people. I think, particularly in the Amazon space, there's no kind of right or wrong answer. And things seem to be constantly changing there. So I was keen to broaden my network and learn from a variety of different people. So as much as my initial product launch had went quite well, I was looking a little bit wider, and this is when, back then I was listening to the AM PM podcast with Manny, and Kevin was one of the guests on there, and I kind of liked his no-nonsense attitude and the way he presented information, and on the actual podcast itself, he was giving away a lot of really valuable content, so I then dived in and went for the Freedom Ticket course.
Now, what were some of the things that you can remember from that original Freedom Ticket course that really you feel kind of helped your business and for the better?
Yeah, I think the things I really liked about it were particularly around product selection. So a lot of courses in the Amazon space, it's like fits in a shoebox, under $20, under £3, all those type of things. Where Kevin was very much kind of giving you the tools and guidelines to follow, but not being as prescriptive as that. So I think his criteria around product selection was super valuable for me, because I guess if you don't get that right, then nothing else really matters. So that was one element of it, but I also really liked the course, how he talked about launching products. That was a little bit different from what I'd heard previously. So like the kind of giveaway technique, or basically just launching products at a lower price to drive ranking and drive keyword ranking, and then drive reviews. And once you kind of get that social proof and reviews, you can start to gradually increase the price. And I really like that as a tactic.
Okay. So now, fast forward, that was about a year ago. Now fast forward to a year later, basically using the knowledge that you gained from the Freedom Ticket program. How many products total have you launched in the last year?
So we've launched 6 products in total. One of them didn't work. So at the moment, I've got 5 products live, and I've got another one about to launch in the next couple of weeks.
Excellent. And so what's your gross revenue now monthly, would you say?
So we've actually really grown rapidly in the last 2 or 3 months. We've had a fantastic product launch. So it's hard to say really accurately, because I'm battling to keep the product in stock a lot of the time. But we're round about 170 to 200K per month in revenue at the moment.
And that's here in Amazon USA?
Yeah, just Amazon.com, yeah, in the US.
Excellent, excellent. So you were able to scale, using your education. You took multiple courses, which I think is great. It's not just, like you said, just a variety of different suggestions is great, but Freedom Ticket, the original one, definitely helped you scale to where you're at right now. It's very commendable. So have you taken a look yet, or do you plan on taking a look at the newly recorded Freedom Ticket as kind of a refresher, or you think you're pretty good for now?
No, I will 100% be diving back in. I think the thing that I really liked first time round about the Freedom Ticket for me was the weekly Q&A calls with Kevin. Just being able to go in there when you're stuck with something, ask a question, know that you're basically speaking to someone that's been there and done it. And the thing that I really like about Kevin is that if he doesn't know the answer, he'll tell you. He won't try and wing it. And I really like that. And I learned a ton from those Q&A calls. Like I was saying earlier, Amazon's changing all the time. I think you need to keep up with your education. So 100% I'll be diving into version 2 of the Freedom Ticket.
So what would you say is the one thing that, give us an example of maybe something that helped you get to, because where you're at today, that's obviously a 7-figure business. What is something that you learned from Freedom Ticket? You mentioned about the product selection and the launches, but something that specific maybe that you can definitely recommend that you say, hey, I've tried this and it works, and I suggest that other people try this method too.
So I guess I would call it a couple of things there. I think the one thing that I didn't really realise before doing the Freedom Ticket, and this is a bit of a boring point, but it's really important, is the focusing on the return on investment point. Because I was very much focused, is there profit there? But in order to grow rapidly, you really need to make sure that return on investment is at least 100% and ideally more. So that's one thing I would definitely make sure people pay attention to, and Kevin does outline how you calculate that in the Freedom Ticket course. So that's one thing. But the other thing that worked really well for me was using ManyChat and Facebook chatbots and the search, find, buy technique, which is kind of out there now. But yeah, that was something that Kevin kind of opened my eyes to, and it worked super well for me.
Excellent. All right, Paul, one more question for you. What's, now we're in 2019 coming up on the end. What's your goal for 2020 with your Amazon business?
Yeah, it's certainly to continue to scale. So I'm actually at the point that I still have a full-time day job, but I'm about to quit that in the next few days, thankfully, to really focus on Amazon. But yeah, launch more products, continue with the education into Freedom Ticket version 2. I've got an idea for 2 or 3 new products. I'm focusing now more on higher price point items because I feel that there's less competition there for one thing, and it's easier to rank them, and the margins are really there to do other marketing type activities. So I'm looking at 2 or 3 more product launches next year, ideally.
Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot, Paul. All right. Next up here, we have Steve. Steve, where actually are you located?
We are in West Plains, Missouri. It's about 2 hours east of Springfield, Missouri, or Branson. Most people know where Branson is.
Okay, so Missouri. Well, Springfield, isn't that where like Bart Simpson's from? Or
yeah,
not sure where it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, the reason I invited you on here, I saw in one of the Facebook groups you had, I believe you just started with the new Freedom Ticket, right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, before this, you hadn't really looked into Amazon, or like you haven't sold on Amazon before? Or
no.
What's your history with Amazon?
The history with Amazon is about the middle of September. After we came back from the Gulf Coast, we decided we needed to do something with our jobs and maybe replace our income with something. And we looked into Amazon, and it just kind of all came together. We the more we investigated Amazon about trying to become an Amazon FBA seller, it looked pretty good. So we're all in. We're committed.
Excellent. So do you and your wife still have like a full-time jobs in the meantime, or what's your current employment situation?
Yeah, we both have full-time jobs. Been at my job for 23 years, and my wife's been working at her career for a long time. And we're in our early to mid 50s, and we would like to make a change. We'd like to retire at the Gulf Coast and we think this might be an avenue to let us do that a little sooner.
Okay. So your goal then is, long term, have something where you can retire from your 9 to 5 jobs, or in the meantime, have something maybe just to supplement your income there. And so you guys look into the Amazon FBA model to do that. Now, what week are you in now of the Freedom Ticket training?
Well, I'm on number 15, so I'm in the 3rd week.
Okay. Excellent. You studying together with your wife or just yourself?
Well, lately just myself. My wife gets in on it when she can. I have a lot more time. My job, I have computer access for 8 hours a day to check this stuff out and do some research, and I've been doing that quite a bit at work. So our evening times at home are pretty full, and that's what I've been doing. I kind of been taking this on my own for now, but she gets in on it when she can.
Okay, excellent. So what's, in the first couple of weeks there that you've been going over Freedom Ticket, what have you seen that's kind of excited you about the possibility of Amazon, or that you have learned, or you didn't know about, or you're like, wow, this is interesting, I can't believe this, or anything like that?
Well, when we started researching, of course, we do what probably everybody does. You YouTube the heck out of it and research, Google everything you can find about Amazon selling. And there's a lot of things that I already was aware of or knew about. But when Kevin took us through the Amazon Seller Central, and explaining the dynamics of Amazon selling, and I don't know, there's a lot to it.
Well, what do you think's the biggest maybe hurdle, that you're going to have to face? Is there anything that's kind of scared you, what you learned so far?
We're career people. We're in our mid-50s, and we're pretty confident in our abilities to follow through with this. But I don't see anything that's really scary.
I like it. Hey, you're confident. I like that confidence. That's what people need.
Putting together a relationship with the supplier, and even we have not decided on a product yet. We're taking this last quarter of the year to do all the research and learning that we can before we actually pull the trigger. We want to be well informed and try not to make as many mistakes as the person might if they just kind of dove into it, head first. We're not that kind of people. We like to really scope things out and put some thought into it.
Excellent. So we're in around November 2019. All goes well. How do you envision your Amazon journey being in November of 2020? Like you've already been able to retire from your jobs, or you got a nice little secondary income, or what are your goals for the next 12 months, would you say?
For the next 12 months, we plan to get something launched actually, on our Amazon store by the end of January. And this is probably at least a 2-year plan, 3-year plan looking out. Finding a supplier, and we got to put, form an LLC and get our insurance and our bank account and our credit card. We got to set up all that stuff and hopefully get launched in January. And at the end of like the 2nd or 3rd year, we hope to be selling multiple products on Amazon and having a maybe not a quit your job kind of income, but headed that direction.
Excellent. That's a great goal to have. And I know many people personally who have had similar goals and been able to achieve it. Well, I wish you all the best of success as you continue learning about Amazon from Freedom Ticket, and look forward to hopefully touching bases with you next year. And let's see how close you've gotten to those goals.
Yeah, come back and we'll talk about it, and I'll tell you where we're at.
Sounds good. All right. Next up here, we've got Stacy. Stacy, how's it going?
Yeah, good.
This is so interesting. We have had 3 completely different accents so far. Paul that I just had, and Steve, we had somebody from Scotland, and then somebody from like southern states of USA. And now we have, I'm assuming, Australian.
And Australian, mate.
Australian. All right, cool. So whereabouts in Australia are you?
Melbourne.
Okay. So now I remember seeing you in Facebook. You are a wife, a mother. How many kids you have?
I've got 4.
4 children. Do you are you full-time mommy, or do you also have a work outside of the house?
I am a full-time mum. I homeschool the kids actually. So
Oh wow, even more full-time mom and full-time teacher.
yeah, double whammy.
Wow. Okay, so your husband, does he work full-time outside of the house?
Kind of. We have an interesting situation. He's doing law school, and we've done renovations and property for a long time, so that's kind of been our business for the last decade. And yeah, so he's about to get his builder's license and going along that track, but he's also doing law. And yeah,
That is an interesting combination, law and building.
yeah.
Hey, whatever floats your boat. Now, how did it come about that you guys started thinking about possibly going the Amazon route?
It kind of came out of nowhere. I've been doing property for a long time, so I've been I've been researching and educating myself on doing commercial property for a while, just for the added cash flow. And just we're not in a situation to really go ahead with that at the moment with capital. And yeah, I met someone ages ago through homeschooling who's a seller, and she's doing really great. And I just kept seeing advertising around and popping up on my feed, and I thought, I'll check it out one day. And I just started looking at these ads and thought, oh, this is interesting. Maybe it's not full of, too full of it as I thought initially. And so then I contacted my friend. She's doing amazing. She's up to almost $3 million in sales this year. And she's like, it's changed her life over the last 5 years. So yeah, I started looking into it. I got into the Freedom course, and I've just been loving it, really loving it.
Excellent. I'll ask you the same question I had asked Steve is there anything that surprised you so far about what you learned? Like, wow, I didn't realize that about Amazon. Or on the flip side, something that's really scared you, like, man, looks like it's going to be tough once I actually start doing it. Or just give me some of your feedback on what you've learned so far.
Well, I'm feeling you. I'm 2 weeks into the Freedom Ticket. And I've been doing as much education as I can, like away from that as well, listening to your podcasts. And in one, I'm kind of like a bit bipolar about it, because in one way I'm kind of everything I'm listening to, I'm like, yes, I can do this. I get it. Like, this is just a numbers game. I can figure this out. And I feel really positive and really excited, and can't wait to kind of just keep learning more, so I feel confident enough to really choose my products and get out there. But in another way, the more I'm listening to, the more I'm like, I've just got so much to learn. It's just so much, all the different, just so many different levels with advertising and this that I haven't hit on in the course yet. So there's a lot of words getting thrown around, and I'm like, oh, don't know what that is yet. Don't know what that is yet. Got to learn that, write that one down, figure out what that is. So I feel like I've only got half of a dictionary for this Amazon kind of jargon. So
your friend who kind of inspired you, what did she do before she was selling on Amazon?
I think her husband and her have got some other businesses. I think she said she was in retail. So, I'm not exactly sure.
So from the retail and businesses, and then getting $3 million selling products that she never probably has to even see in the United States. So obviously that, I could see how that kind of lifestyle would be attractive. So how do you... What's your timeline, or what's your goals? Like, we're in the last months here of 2019. If I were to invite you back on the podcast in November of 2020, what would be your ideal situation that we would find you in?
I'm a bit of a dreamer, so I'm going big. But I would love it that if I did in the first year, I would be stoked if I could have sales anywhere between like $1 million up to 5 million, but that's obviously dreaming. Not necessarily.
Aim high. I like it.
So I'm thinking I'll just knuckle down and figure it out.
Okay, but then like, what would you be okay with? Like, that's obviously maybe the high end of what you're looking for, but if you were making an extra $100,000 only last year, would that be obviously something that is okay, or would you consider that failure? Since your friend is making $3 million?
Oh no, that's taken a while. No, of course I wouldn't consider it a failure. Anything, like if I didn't fail, that would be great as well.
All right.
If I got anything around 50 to 100,000, that's more than what I'm making now as a full-time mum. So I would love more than 100,000, and I would be, I'd probably be like, oh, you've made some mistakes, or I'd recognize it as a learning curve. And try and figure out how to go at it better the next year and choose a bit more profitable product or get some more capital together to initially invest. But I'd love minimum, 100,000 would be great. 50,000 would still be great because it's better than what I've got at the moment. But yeah, like I said, I'm a bit of a dreamer.
Awesome. Well, keep up the good work, finishing up the Freedom Ticket. I wish you the best of success, and make sure thousands of people just heard you say what your goals are. So make sure that you do your best to try and get there. And then next December, we're going to go down under and see how you did with reaching your goals.
Oh gosh, great.
No pressure.
No pressure. Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Stacey. All right, guys, our next guest here, Ian, is actually somewhat of a Freedom Ticket celebrity. He was actually one of the ones in the original Freedom Ticket. Is that correct, Ian?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, cool. So now the cool thing about you, if I recall correctly, is when you actually took the original Freedom Ticket, by that time, you were already semi-crushing it on Amazon. Weren't you doing some significant volume already on Amazon?
Yeah, I think it was around 30,000 a month at the time, somewhere around there.
Okay, that's great. Because I know a lot of our users may be wondering, like, I don't know how much education I need or how much Freedom Ticket or another course might be able to help me. I'm already doing pretty decent. But what kind of profit margins did you have for that 30 grand or 25 grand, 35 grand, however much you were making?
Oh man, I think back then it was less than 10. I was barely breaking even because I was in such a competitive market. I was doing okay, but I needed help. I didn't really know how to extract the most I could out of Amazon at the time.
Okay. So then what were some of the tips that Kevin gave you, thanks to the Freedom Ticket program? Like what did you learn from Kevin? What was like maybe some of the things that really kind of were game changing for you that helped turn the ship around?
A lot of it was basically his product development perspective, where he would kind of explain how to look at markets and identify how to provide more value than everyone else. At the time, I was doing what a lot of people were doing, which is, I think, just private labeling a product and then launching into a market when you think you might be able to do it, and then just kind of basically playing the price game to try to compete. Mm-hmm. He was big on creating value in ways nobody else was doing. I remember one of the things he taught me that really stuck out was how to basically add something to a product that nobody else was adding, even if it cut your profit down. So he told me a story once where he was selling something. There was a large profit margin, and he thought really hard about what he could bundle with that product to make it a no-brainer purchase for his customer. He found another product to bundle with it, and the two of them had a much higher cost of goods than any of his competitors would have, but it was a no-brainer when somebody was scanning the page. So he would make the sale every time. And that to me was mind-blowing, because I hadn't really thought about spending more than my competitors to reduce my profit margin, but increase the number of sales because I became the no-brainer answer.
Yeah. And so you basically became that, though, after you implemented that.
I did. Yeah, I did a lot of stuff like that.
And so when was this again? When was the original Freedom Ticket? It was 2017, was it?
Yeah, could have been, I think September 2017 is when we shot it.
Okay, so we're kind of like 2 years later now. In 2017, like I said, or like you said, you were already crushing it with 5 figures a month. What are you at now monthly about?
Around 60. I think I'm just going to miss $1 million this year.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's great. So guys, this is, it's not just about Freedom Ticket. If you guys are doing well on Amazon, regardless of if your profit margins are high or low, there's always something you can learn by educating yourself. Amazon is constantly changing. There's different methods to do different things, and different things work for different people. So the more you educate yourself, you're going to find out some of these things that maybe you never thought about, like Ian did, and it could literally, change the whole way you make money. So like for you, it's not just the gross revenue that increased that now is up to 60,000. But more importantly, your profit margins, I imagine, are better than what it was before.
Yes, closer to 20%. And I don't know. I feel like I understand Amazon, where before I felt like I was just being beaten around by Amazon. So now I feel like I can manipulate the market for my own success.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to congratulate you for you're kind of like the hashtag goals for a lot of our listeners out there who are wanting to crush it. And you've crushed it twice now on Amazon. You originally were already doing well with 5 figures a month, and now you've more than doubled that. So that's awesome. Now, are you going to look at the new Freedom Ticket at all? Have you looked at the new one, or since you're not in it, you have no interest in seeing it?
Well, I always have interest. I hadn't looked at it yet. I've been receiving emails letting me know there was stuff going on, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I'm definitely going to look into it.
Awesome. And so this been now 2 years since you've taken the original Freedom Ticket. Just in general, though, come this time next year, come Q4 of 2020, where do you see yourself, or what are some of your future goals?
So we're going to do at least Europe next year, ideally Europe and Canada. I've created a sales funnel that drives traffic to my Shopify store. So I think I'm going to switch from being full on Amazon to kind of Amazon being more of a channel, and probably Shopify being a primary channel for me. And then, I just got accepted onto Walmart this morning. So I'll be on Walmart too.
Oh, awesome. All right. Well, we're definitely going to want to touch bases with you come next year to see how you've reached those goals. But congratulations on your success so far. And thank you for sharing your Freedom Ticket story. All right, guys. Our next guest now is Amanda. Amanda, I believe you are in Canada, right?
That's right.
Excellent. So do you have a Canadian accent?
I don't think so, but I'm directly north of North Dakota. So I don't know if.
No, I hear it. No, I heard a little bit, but it's not as extreme as some of our other guests here on this episode. We had Paul from Scotland and Steve from down south, and we had Stacy from Australia. So
see, those are cool accents.
Your accent is the most mild, I would say. Anyways, a cool thing I just found out about you last night was before you sold on Amazon, you were actually heavy hitter Etsy seller, right?
That's right. Yeah.
In what kind? I love that accent. Don't underestimate the Canadian accent. Just the subtle things. I love it. Now, what niche were you in for Etsy?
I was in the baby niche, in apparel. And
okay.
Yeah.
So were you actually making your own product, or your source, or private labeling it, or what was that about?
Making my own, basically customizing things, doing a lot of that stuff. So.
Okay. So now I know, we don't have time to go into that whole story, but it was kind of interesting. You were actually a 6-figure seller on Etsy, and then got attacked by hijackers and kind of had to give that up, basically, right?
A competitor just focused on me and came after me, stalked me. It was a nightmare. So it was eventually got me kicked off, and
So then that was around that time when did this happen? Was this year, last year? Or?
Yeah, this happened in August.
Oh, so very recent. Okay. So then at that time you're like, hey, maybe I should try Amazon, or was that the thought process, or how did that work?
Yeah, that was my next thing. Basically, I knew if I could build a big brand on Etsy, then, I can probably do it again on Amazon, hopefully, crossing my fingers. Mm-hmm. And that's what led me to you guys, pretty much.
Oh, excellent. So then you came across Freedom Ticket. So is Freedom Ticket the first kind of Amazon course you've taken, or you've taken other courses as well?
No, Freedom Ticket is really the first course that I've taken. I really liked the Helium 10, what you guys are kind of offering, and looks the most promising.
What so far, or what week are you on, by the way, on Freedom Ticket?
I'm just before the intellectual property.
Okay. So what so far? Me personally, I don't know almost anything about Etsy. What so far, and what you've learned about Amazon that you've learned from Freedom Ticket, like what are some of the huge differences, would you say, selling on Amazon opposed to selling on Etsy?
I think selling on Etsy, there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. Etsy is a lot more easy to list items. It's more intuitive. Amazon, it's definitely a learning curve, especially when you're coming from selling on Etsy. But I think the reach is the biggest thing that draws me to Amazon, and just learning to, the SEO is different. The keywords are different, stuff like that.
Okay, cool. So is there anything that, same question I ask the others, is there anything that surprised you, or what's one of your biggest takeaways from what you've learned? You're like, whoa, I didn't know that, or wow, that seems interesting about the Amazon experience? I
think just the opportunity, selling on Etsy and just focusing on Etsy. Even though I was a 6-figure seller there, I didn't understand how much reach Amazon had and how much profits you could make just on Amazon. So I think that's really the one thing that was like, wow, there's really, potential.
Excellent. So now I'm assuming you're going to kind of do the same niche on Amazon as you were successful in Etsy, since that's your bread and butter.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I mean, that's what I know. That's, I've sourced before on Alibaba, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I know, but I'm also looking at other things that I wouldn't normally look at because, just the keyword searching and like all these things that Helium 10 offers. I think it's really an interesting way to kind of expand what you might be normally selling.
Excellent. Yeah, I totally agree. Broadening your horizons. You obviously have a specialty, but you're not limiting yourself to that. So that's an excellent takeaway. So going from a 6-figure Etsy business, or what kind of profit margins does Etsy have? Is it similar to Amazon? We talk about 10, 20, 30%?
It's similar. Yeah, you have a lot more. It used to be kind of a different ballpark ever since Etsy introduced this free shipping push. A lot of sellers really don't like it. It's a little bit less on Amazon that you're making profit. But Etsy, I think it pretty much evens out just by the numbers of people that are coming. Like Amazon has so many more customers searching on than Amazon or than Etsy.
Now, was that your family's main income, the Etsy business?
Yes.
So are you guys kind of struggling now that you've been without that for a few months?
Yeah, for sure. My husband, he quit his job last August to come and work for the business. And it was just me and him, doing all of our orders and all that stuff. So when that hit, it was like in one day, everything was gone.
Wow.
And we had just ordered everything for Christmas rush, so that we were stocked and ready to go for the Etsy, crazy Christmas season. So in one day, it was pretty crazy.
So then, this is definitely not some hobby for you. This is very serious business that you need to learn how to sell on Amazon, because you guys are kind of at a standstill until you can get back on your feet.
Exactly. Luckily, my husband got his old job back, which is great. So we do have some income. It's nothing compared to what we were making before, but that's where, if I know I can do it in one arena, I'm hoping that I have the drive and can figure out how to do it on Amazon.
So then for you, I would say maybe a little bit different than some of the other ones I've interviewed on this episode. I ask everybody, kind of like where they see themselves as far as a goal they have for this time, November, December of 2020. You might have some specific goals because this is very real for you. So how do you see yourself in your Amazon business? What's your goals if I hit you up around this time next year?
My goals are to be around the same place that I was with Etsy. And then my 3-year goal is to make $1 million.
Love it.
I know that's kind of lofty, but I'm figuring why not, right?
Have you used any of the, just out of curiosity, have you used any of the spreadsheets yet to kind of like, or have you used Helium 10 at all to kind of estimate your profitability? You know, since you know kind of what you were paying before and what kind of Amazon fees are, just to see what the profitability is going to be like for you?
I haven't yet. I'm looking at a couple of specific products that I may be wanting to source, and kind of just feeling my way around right now and seeing. But I mean, I'm listening to podcasts, you know, doing all of the work I can to understand and really succeed at Amazon. And that's where you guys have helped so much just in doing that I'm kind of working my way up to that.
Excellent. All right. Well, Amanda, wish you all the best, and we'll definitely be reaching out to you guys next year. And hopefully once I call you next year, you'll pick up the phone and say that, yeah, you have not only matched your Etsy sales, but even maybe surpassed it.
Love it. Yep.
All right. Thanks a lot, Amanda. We'll talk to you later.
Well, I hope you found these interviews beneficial to you, and hopefully maybe you were able to relate to one of these guests. You know, maybe you are already selling on Amazon like Paul was, or maybe you're brand new like Steve was. Regardless of who you related to, make sure that you guys learn from their experience and what they all had in common. They used education to help them start or scale their business. And that's what Freedom Ticket really is for. Remember, we're trying to give you a ticket to freedom. Now, what freedom might mean to you, it's going to be different for everybody, right? Maybe some people want to completely quit their jobs and be able to have a full-time career on Amazon. Well, Freedom Ticket will help you do that. Maybe you're somebody who just wants some side money. You want to make a couple $1,000s extra a month for your kids' college fund, or so that you can go traveling more. Well, Freedom Ticket is going to help you. Just make sure to take your time going through the whole entire course. Don't be tempted to skip around even once you have the whole course open to you. Make sure to listen to every single module, because I guarantee there's information that you guys are going to find beneficial. So guess what, guys? What do I want? What's my goal with this? Well, I interviewed these 5 individuals who have either had success on Freedom Ticket and Amazon, or are just getting started. What I'd love to do is for some of you, about a year from now, come to me with your success story and what freedom has looked like for you as far as on your e-commerce journey. And I would love to interview you for the Serious Sellers podcast, or maybe even another module on here. So that's your homework, guys. Go through the Freedom Ticket, but don't just get stuck with analysis paralysis and just be learning your whole life. Whatever you're learning here in Freedom Ticket, make sure that you go and execute like Paul did and like the other guests did. And then in about a year, come to me and say, Bradley, I want to give you my story, and I'm going to have you on an interview as well. So guys, I wish you the best of luck here in Freedom Ticket.